choice. Please note that your microphone and video will be muted throughout the presentation. However, if you have any questions, feel free to write it on the chat box and we will get to them at the end of each intervention. If we do not get to answer your questions at the end of each intervention, we will make sure to deliver your email address and your questions to the college or university rep so that they will get back to you as soon as possible. Again, thank you again for joining our second part of the 2+2 program. Today, we are delivering a showcase to provide information on community colleges. We have seen this as a need from a lot of our advisees who would like to know more about these institutions and how the 2+2 program is able to provide a pathway to a bachelor's degree. So, with no further ado, I want to introduce our collaborators today. We have Hillsborough Community College, who will be presenting with the University of South Florida. St. Charles Community College will be presenting with its partner, the University of Missouri. Orange Coast College will present with Loyola Marymount University. Within the chat box, I want you to locate Q&A Moberg, and she is the advisor who will be asking the questions to the college or the university rep. So make sure that you write to her whenever you have an inquiry or you have a question. So with no further ado, I want to provide the format for you guys to type your questions. So first, we would like you to write down the name of the institution, or if you have a question for both, this is the format that we would like you to follow. First, the name of the institution, followed by the question, your name, and your email address. Right there, we have an example for you. For example, Lane Community College, so on and so forth. Can I transfer to any public or private university? Marta Beltran, followed by the email address. Or if you have a question for both, that is the format that we would like you to follow. Okay, so what is Education USA? Most of you guys may know what it is. Some of you guys, it may be the first time learning about this great network. We are an advising center sponsored by the U.S. State Department Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. We provide free access or free information and advisory to students who would like to know more on the requirements, procedures, documentations, and what it actually takes to study in the United States. We have about 430 centers around the world, and we are present in more than 175 countries. We promote higher education around the world, and we are that main bridge between the universities and colleges in the United States and those institutions wherever Education USA is present. Our main target are international students, and we help them reach that goal, that dream of studying in the United States by providing accurate, comprehensive, and current information. Okay. Now, some of the services that we have are one-on-one sessions where we meet with students and provide them advice depending on their profile. Just note that at this moment, because of the contingency of the pandemic, we are not meeting or we are not having in-present meetings with our advisees, or we are not visiting schools. All of our sessions and activities are being conducted virtually as we are doing right now through webinars, workshops, showcases, seminars. We also participate in mobility fairs and also organize educational fairs throughout the region. Education USA know that is present in US embassies, consulates, Fulbright commissions, binational centers, also in universities, nonprofit organizations. At each of our centers, we have books, guides, and different resources that students may use in order to find that university that is the right one for you. Remember, you should try to match yourself to that institution rather than that institution matching the student. So remember, there are about 4,700 institutions accredited in the United States, and you have to find that one that has what you are looking for, from financial aid to resources to the academic programs. Other services that we provide as advisors are outreach, where we visit schools, universities, and we provide a series of informative sessions for undergraduate and graduate programs, and virtual programs, local and regional, as we are doing right now. Now, today we are going to talk about community college. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction on what the 2+2 program is. Community colleges are 2-year public institutions where the tuition is usually lower than at a college. Here, you may acquire general education courses such as math, science, history, and so on, and also receive, at the end of 2 years, an associate's degree. You can also acquire an associate's of arts, an associate's of science, an associate's of applied science, which is a 2-year technical degree that may allow you to begin or start in the workforce. All right. At a university, this or college, these are 4-year private or public institutions where tuition may be a little bit higher. You can also receive general education courses related to your career at the end of your second year. Here, you may receive a Bachelor's of Arts, a Bachelor's of Science, or a Bachelor's of Fine Arts at the end of your second year. Some community colleges may be convenient for a lot of high school students, and this is the reason why. You have the opportunity to start at a smaller class size. So if you come from a community where the ratio of student per teacher is 1 to 14 or 1 to 20 or so on, this may be convenient for you because you will receive individualized, personalized attention, what you are usually used to at a high school setting. Also, it is an affordable pathway to a 4-year institution because you can start at a community college, save money, and then begin at a 4-year institution where the community college may have a contract or may have an arrangement with. Also, at a community college, you are able to begin or you are able to skip 2 years of high school, earn a high school diploma, and also an associate's degree. For those students that are located at an internationally and English is your second language, this can also be an opportunity for you guys to level up within this, your grammar, reading, listening. Maybe you did not score well on any of the proficiency exams. So this is the opportunity for you guys to start anew and maybe also level up within your GPA. At a community college, you can also receive vocational training to enter the workforce in business, computer science, arts, mechanics, the health, and the medical field. Hence, the 2+2 program, and then you can continue to complete a 4-year major at a college or a university. Now, let's take a look at our following slide. At a community college, it's an opportunity for you, as I said before, to level up, earn an associate's degree, receive your general education courses, and at the end of your second year, you can transfer to a university or a college and start your third year, and also receive your major courses within the area of studies. And at the end of your fourth year, you will receive your bachelor's degree in your career. Now, these are some of the things that a community college and a university have in common. In both, you will fill out an online application. Also, you will have to pay an application fee depending on the institution. Some may offer a waiver if you start at a community college. So you will have to be careful to read or ask the community college representative if this is possible. Also, you will be required to send in your transcripts. However, at a community college, you may not be required to present or submit standardized tests for English proficiency. So this may be a great opportunity for international students who therefore may not possess that level of English required to enter at a college or university. However, at a university or a college or a 4-year institution, they may ask for you guys to present tests such as the TOEFL exam, IELTS, or Duolingo. Also, they will require you to show or submit letters of recommendation, write an essay, or present a portfolio if you are applying for the arts or the music field. So you will have to think about what are some of these opportunities. With no further ado, I want to give the opportunity now to present our great host also. We have Ashley Tankersville, Manager International Student Recruitment Center for Education from Hillsborough Community College, and also Jesse Coates from the University of South Florida. Jesse Coates is in the International Admissions Recruiter Advisor. So thank you so much for being with us this afternoon and allowing our international students to learn more about the 2+2 program, a great opportunity for all of us.
Great, thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. We're really excited to get started. I'm actually going to stop my video, but I did want to quickly say hi so you can see my face. But I want you guys to focus on some of the things I'll be sharing on the screen with you today. So let me pull that up right here. Okay. All right, hopefully you guys can see that there. Again, I'm Ashley Tankersley. I'm with Hillsborough Community College. For the duration of this presentation, I'll be referring to it as HCC, and I'm going to be presenting with Jesse Coates from the University of South Florida. So let's get into this today. Why choose a community college? So we have definitely heard a lot of the benefits a little bit earlier. Thank you, Jackson. Lower tuition costs. So as we heard, at a community college, students can save a lot of money, right? And they're getting the same exact education those first 2 years as they would at a 4-year institution. So for example, if a student does this 2+2 we're talking about with HCC and USF, University of South Florida, which is what we're getting into today, a student would actually save close to $12,000 US on tuition if they went to HCC first. Next, smaller classroom sizes. At HCC, we cap our classroom sizes off at 30 students or less in the class. 2+2 transfer programs, which is what we're going to get into a little later. OPT, optional practical training. This is basically a 1-year work authorization in the US. So basically you're permitted to work for 1 year on your F1 student visa after you complete an academic program in the United States, as long as that job is related to your program area of study. And I'm going to get into that actually a little bit later as well. And lastly, simple admissions process, as Jackson mentioned, no SAT required, and I'm going to talk about that more later too. So community colleges offer a real student-focused education system. These are the different pathways that you can choose to take at a community college. These are very general, and you can choose any one of these at HCC. The top is the most common, and what we're talking about today, it's the Associate of Arts degree. And that's your, those are the programs that are going to transfer into university. So these are the ones that students are going to want to select if their ultimate goal is to get their bachelor's degree. Then we also have Associate of Science degree programs, and these are more specialized degrees. These are just 2-year programs. Now, just as a note, some of HCC's Associate of Science degree programs, they actually transfer into universities, quite a few. Like, for example, with the University of South Florida, who I'm presenting with today, we actually will, we have a 2+ with nursing program, which is why I listed that right there. Of course, those are few and far between. I always recommend checking in with an advisor first to make sure that that is the student's intention. Next, we have college credit certificates. These are 1 to 2 semester long programs. So a student can walk away with a certificate without the time commitment of a 2 or 4-year degree. And at HCC, we actually have 4 college credit certificates, and they're listed here. You see them on the screen right there. Entrepreneurship and innovation, business management, event planning, or food and beverage management. But we have over 100 different programs at HCC, something for everyone. So as I briefly mentioned earlier, OPT, or optional practical training, is that paid internship that you are permitted to do on your student visa. But it's only when you complete a degree program. So if you attend a community college first, see this bottom little line right here on the pyramid, if you attend a community college first and you complete your associate's degree, you can do a year of OPT work and get paid for it in the US before transferring to a 4-year institution. So if your plan is to earn your bachelor's degree, you can actually do OPT 2 times if you attend a community college. Once after your associate's degree, and then you can opt to do it again after you complete your bachelor's degree too. So you can do it twice. Now, if you go straight into university, you have to wait the full 4 years until you complete that degree program before doing a year of OPT. So that's one benefit of starting at a community college first. Okay, this is what we're here for, to learn about the 2+2. Community colleges, they actually share articulation agreements with 4-year institutions. They are also referred to as a 2+2 transfer agreement. And HCC actually shares these transfer agreements with all of Florida's 12 public universities, as well as a handful of other universities across the country, which basically means that once a student completes their degree with us at HCC, they will automatically get admitted and accepted into any of those institutions. So, you know, even if we don't share an agreement with a particular university that you might want to transfer to, we will still help with that process. So once you begin your studies at HCC, you are assigned your own academic advisor, and he or she is going to help you map out your academic plan, not only for that first semester, but for the full 2 years of your program. And then your advisor is going to begin a dialogue with you with where you might want to transfer. So we make sure you're in the right classes that are going to transfer flawlessly into your selected bachelor's degree program. Additionally, students can opt to receive a conditional letter of admittance from USF, the University of South Florida, upon admission to HCC. So they can select that they wish to receive this letter with their HCC welcome packet, if they mark it on their online application when prompted. And of course, USF admission, they have to finalize all of that stuff with you. Once you complete your associate degree at HCC, you have to meet whatever current GPA requirements are for the USF limited access programs. But this conditional letter can actually benefit students quite a bit. For example, prior to coming in the States and studying at HCC, when a student has their interview at the embassy for their student visa, they can actually take the USF letter with them as well. And that'll demonstrate to the visa officer that the student is committed to their studies in the US as long as they fully intend to complete their studies in a university. After obtaining their associate's degree. So it's a little bit easier to prove to the embassy or consulate that you are serious about your studies if you have that 2+2, conditional letter from USF along with your admissions and welcome packet with HCC. It's one more benefit. Now I'm going to briefly go over some other things that we have to offer specifically at HCC, but first, let's hear from some of HCC's international students from your region.
There's not so much of a culture shock because everyone is so together. We are HCC.
I believe that everybody who works at the Center for International Education are more than happy to help.
Nosotros somos HCC.
I believe the best part of having international students side by side is that we are all sharing the same experience. Nós somos a HCC.
The smaller classroom size is important to me.
Nós da HCC.
我们在 HCC. We are HCC.
Okay. So let's hear about HCC. We were founded in 1968. We are a rather large community college. We have 5 different campuses in the Tampa Bay area. We have a total enrollment of over 47,000 students, and we have normally about 350 F1 international students, and they come from over 80 different countries. So we have a really well-rounded international student body. We do have a ton of students from your region. Just by our location, we're in Florida. We're very, very close to where you guys are located. So naturally, we do have a lot of students that come from your side of the world. We also offer on-campus student housing. A lot of community colleges do not offer that, but we do. You can see it in the picture down there. It's really nice. There's a pool, a beach volleyball court, and each student gets their own private bedroom and private bathroom, which is fantastic. And one last thing to keep in mind, Tampa is actually one of the top 10 safest metro areas in the United States. So you can feel really secure there. A little bit more about Tampa, actually. We are located on Florida's Gulf Coast, so it's beautiful. The beaches are there. We're right by the water. The Tampa Bay region hosts about 4 million people, and we have close to 336,000 people in the city of Tampa. It's pretty spread out, though. And actually, more recently, Tampa has been ranked the 2nd best large US city for undergraduate students, which is pretty cool because as we all know, a strong curriculum and a real supportive school environment is very important to a student's academic success, right? But so is location. It really helps when a student's happy with where they are. So if you're really interested in HCC, if you feel like we're a good fit, this is briefly what you need to do to apply. You just have to fill out an online international student application. There is normally a $50 application fee, but that's waived for any of you. Any applicants that are applying through an EducationUSA office and decide on HCC, you do not have to pay that application fee. You have to submit your high school transcript or graduation certificate. So you have to be finished with high school there. And then if you come from a country that your English is not your native language, you have to prove your English language proficiency by taking one of the English language proficiency exams, either the TOEFL, the IELTS, or more recently and pretty popularly, the Duolingo English test. It's easy and quick to get your scores, and you only need a 90 or higher. And submit a copy of your passport's bio page and proof of financial support. So that's it, super easy. Of course, I'm here if you have any questions, but I'm going to pass the mic to my colleague, Jessie Coates at the University of South Florida.
Hi everyone, give me just a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Oops. Here you go. Okay, so everybody should be viewing my screen in just 1 second. Okay, good. So hi everybody, my name is Jessie Coates. I'm with the University of South Florida, co-presenting with Ashley from HCC. I will be referring to the University of South Florida as USF throughout the duration of this presentation. So I am also going to turn off my video just for a moment so you all can really focus on what's on the screen, but thank you for being here. So what I wanted to touch on specifically are the benefits of the 2+2 model in the state of Florida. So if you decide to attend a community college in the state of Florida, all of the classes and courses that you'll be taking at that community college would transfer directly to USF. So that makes your admissions process very, very simple. I will touch on our admissions process specifically in a later slide, but coming in as a transfer student to a university, as our other colleagues have mentioned, you would not be required to submit an SAT or ACT. One of the great things is you also would not be required to submit a TOEFL or an English proficiency exam. That is because as part of your first 2 years at a community college, you will be taking your general education classes. Included in those general education classes would be English composition. So as long as you have completed English composition, universities will see that you are proficient in the English language and would not be required to submit another English exam. The other great thing is the affordability. If you're completing your first 2 years at a community college, then you're saving thousands of dollars. And then by the time you're ready to transfer to university, there's also possibility for transfer scholarships and other saving opportunities. But I would suggest that as you are looking for your, your future university to attend for your final 2 years, to be asking about those scholarship opportunities and what you need to do to kind of help with the cost. There's also the benefit of the catered academic advising. So with HCC and USF, we are partnered together. So HCC advisors are very well aware of prerequisite requirements for specific majors. So for example, I'm going to use engineering as an example. Our transfer students who have done their first 2 years at a community college will be expected to have taken Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and Physics. Now, when you're first meeting with your community college or HCC advisor, they will be communicating that information to you and making sure that you are on the right academic track and academic plan to set you up for a successful transfer process for whenever you're ready to make that move. Oops. So I also wanted to talk about a few things that you might consider when you are getting ready to choose your university. So one, where is your university located? Is it a beautiful location or destination? And what I mean by beautiful is not only, are you close to the beach like Tampa, but also what type of opportunities are available to you outside of the classroom. Are you in a major city? Are you somewhere where there are major companies or opportunities to complete a second OPT? Are there areas where you can get involved with outside organizations to help you grow your resume? So those are kind of things you want to take into consideration as to where your university is located. One great thing about HCC and USF is we are located in the Tampa Bay area. So we are a major city in the state of Florida, but Tampa gives you a really great balance of living in a major city with access to all of these type of companies and resources without having all of the tourists or traffic as maybe some of the other neighboring cities do. You want to keep in mind how the university is ranked, especially in terms of your program. If you're looking for a specific program, you want to know how they are at your prospective university. And of course, if they even have that program, how is the admissions process? Is it something simple? Is it accessible? The great thing about applying to a university in Florida after attending community college is, again, you will not be expected to have the SAT and those types of standardized testing. For USF specifically, you would not have to have any letters of recommendation or essays or any of that supplemental documentation. Also, what you want to consider is it is a great student experience. Is there on-campus housing? On HCC and USF both, we have on-campus housing for our students. You want to know what type of clubs and organizations, what type of support you have for international students. What type of career preparation options do you have? What type of just general support do you have at the university? And finally, you want to take into consideration the total cost of where you are attending. So a little bit about the University of South Florida. We are actually 3 campuses for one university. Our main campus is in Tampa Bay. So we are next door neighbors to HCC, very, very close. Throughout our 3 campuses, we have approximately 50,000 students, with almost 5,000 of those students being international from over 141 different countries. So we are an extremely diverse campus family. We have students from all over. And one thing that I always like to mention to my students is I myself did the 2+2 model as a student. I was a transfer student and I actually transferred to USF to do my final 2 years. And sometimes when students hear about this 50,000, it sounds very, very big. And that is true. USF is very, very large. But one of the great things that I love about it is that with all of these clubs and organizations and opportunities for research and ways to connect with your peers, suddenly that 50,000 doesn't feel so large anymore, because there's a way for you to connect with other like-minded students and staff and faculty to get you involved in things you care about, and suddenly the university doesn't feel so big anymore. As I mentioned, we have over 700 student clubs and organizations. Of course, those are anything ranging from fun, if you like games, if you like sports, if you like food, but we also have many organizations geared towards professional development. So if you're coming from a community college with an OPT experience already on your resume, you're probably looking for even more opportunities to network, to grow your resume, to get recommendations. So we have a lot of organizations that are at USF that are here to help you do that. So this page, these are some of our major options. We have over 85 different major options and concentrations. So as you're looking through this page, if for whatever reason you do not see your intended major on the screen, do not be worried. This is not all of them. So if you have any questions or are looking for something specific, my suggestion is to always reach out to us so that we can guide you in potential options or programs that you might be interested. But as you can see, we have a wide variety of programs ranging from the fine arts to business to engineering to health programs. So a lot of different options for you. Our steps to apply after a community college, our steps to apply are actually very simple. You will need to submit your online application. It is a $30 application fee. And then basically after that, you will have to just submit your HCC community college transcripts. What we're going to be looking for is a couple of different things. First, your overall GPA. Second, that English composition to ensure you meet the English proficiency requirements. And finally, we'll be looking for those prerequisites. So that example that I gave you with engineering about having calculus 1, calculus 2, physics, we'll be checking for those prerequisite requirements. But if you have been meeting with your academic advisor, then you should have no problem meeting those requirements ahead of time. You will not be required to have any sort of letters of recommendation or essays or anything like that. It's a very straightforward, simple application process. The other great thing about our application process is when you're applying, you're also applying for scholarships at the same time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our estimated cost. If you look on this page, you'll see undergraduate international. As you read across with tuition and fees, housing and meals, books, supplies, insurance, you'll see that everything in total is around $37,000 per year. So that is without any sort of scholarship or financial assistance. The wonderful thing is that we do have a scholarship specifically for our international transfer students. This scholarship can actually make your price very similar to the fees that you might be paying at HCC. So again, saving thousands of dollars. Our scholarship is called the International Transfer Student Scholarship. Students are required to have at least 60 credits. You would have those 60 credits if you're completing your first 2 years at a community college, and then you'd have to have at least a 3.5 GPA. Now there's a wonderful law in the state of Florida called LAC. What it stands for is Latin America and Caribbean. So as a student from Latin America or the Caribbean and an international transfer student, you could qualify for this transfer award, which would make your cost come down to this $26,000 per year. So again, very, very similar to the fees and costs that you might already be paying at a community college. You can then transfer to us and complete your final 2 years at a 4-year university and be paying community college fees. So just something to keep in mind while you are making your plans and potentially planning to transfer to a university in the state of Florida. But if you all, I know this is a lot of information, so if you all have any questions, both Ashley and myself are happy to help. We have our contact information here on this last page. So if you want to go ahead and take a picture, or if you miss it, reach out to your Education USA advisor because they can absolutely share this information with you. But we are super happy to have had you all join us this evening. I just wanted to say thank you one more time and have a nice evening.
Thank you so much to both of you. We have a few questions after your presentation. My name is Margaret Burke, and I'm in charge of questions and answers today. So we have a question about the OPT, the optional practical training, and this can be answered by either of you. If I do OPT after 2 years at a community college, can I still benefit from the transfer agreement between Hillsborough and USF?
Yes, but I'll defer to Jessie on that since she's the receiving institution.
Yes, absolutely. So we actually see that quite a bit where students do come in already with an OPT experience. So you can still absolutely transfer. You would still be considered part of the 2+2 model. You would just have that professional experience already. And then as Ashley mentioned, you have the opportunity to do another OPT after your graduation from university.
Wonderful, thank you. And now a question for Ashley. Ashley, could you remind us what is the estimated cost of attendance with housing included for 1 year at Hillsborough?
Yes, actually, if you don't mind, I can quickly pull up my screen here. And this is the amount that you'll need to show on the for your I-20 as well. Let me see. Okay, my computer's super slow right now. Anyway, I can tell you while my computer's thinking, I can tell you there, can you see it yet?
We cannot.
Okay.
Now it's starting to load.
Oh, okay, cool. So here's the breakdown. Our tuition costs is the top line that you see right there, a little over $9,000. And that's for 2 semesters. That's for 1 full academic year. What I like to tell students is the overall cost, it looks a little overwhelming even to me as an American. But what I like to tell students is the only lump sum of money that you ever have to actually pay up front is you pay for 1 semester of tuition at the beginning of that semester. Everything else, this is just to prove to the US Embassy that you can afford to live and study in the United States. But yeah, if you're paying for one semester of tuition in the beginning of that semester at HCC, for example, you would pay half of the $9,111. So a little over $4,000. You're basically paying for classes and taxes and stuff like that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to both of you for such an informative presentation. And I believe now we're going to pass it over to the next block of presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Jesse. And thank you, Mo, for such a wonderful deliverance of questions and answers. So now we will have Dr. Virginia Gunelli from St. Charles Community College, and also Ryan Griffin from the University of Missouri, who will be our next presenters. Thank you, guys, and welcome.
Hola, gracias. Buenas noches, soy Virginia Gunelli, directora de Servicios para Estudiantes Internacionales en St. Charles Community College. Viví en la Ciudad de México durante 2 años y me encantó, y estoy encantada de trabajar con EducationUSA y Ryan Griffin para contarles a los estudiantes latinoamericanos sobre nuestros maravillosos programas en St. Louis y Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, do you want to pull the slides up, Virginia?
Sure. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Ryan Griffin. I'm the Director of International Admissions at the University of Missouri. And as Dr. Gunelli mentioned, I'm pleased to be here with you all this evening to talk about the 2+2 program that we have between our institutions.
So some characteristics of U.S. community colleges. Ashley has already gone over a lot of these, but I'd like to add that students who start at a community college, as Ashley pointed out, have optional practical training, and they also can do internships and work through programs with curricular practical training. If the work is related to the classroom and it's an internship, then it's permitted. You do have to be careful not to do too much of it because it would interfere with the optional practical training that you get to do for 1 year after finishing an associate degree. St. Charles Community College, like most community colleges, is designed as a really great way to complete years 1 and 2 and gain support if you need it in English as well before transferring to a university. The general education courses are comparable to universities, and the professors are as well. The class sizes do tend to be smaller. We also have lower tuition rates at community colleges and fees and open admissions and lots of academic support.
Yeah, and to kind of look at what that 2+2 program can look like. So as mentioned by our previous presenters, one of the hallmarks of this can be that there's predetermined credit transfer, meaning that the courses that you take at your community college are going to already be reviewed by that university partner. So there's an understanding of just how those will fit into the 4-year degree plan that you plan to continue on into there. The entire transfer process will be facilitated. So making sure that students, again, are informed about the courses that they take at their community college to make sure that those are matching with their intended degree at the 4-year university. For many 2+2 programs, and we'll look more at the one between SCC and Mizzou just a bit, which I should mention that our university, the University of Missouri, we often go by our nickname Mizzou. So I'll probably use those interchangeably. But many of these programs, again, similar to the one between SCC and Mizzou, will also then provide students access to transfer scholarships. So continuing to make that education more affordable, even as they move to what is typically the more costly part at the university. Now, these can be common between community colleges and universities in the same state. And this evening, you're actually going to be able to see that, particularly when you're looking at public institutions. So when we saw from HCC and USF, again, similar for SCC and Mizzou, we're both public universities or public schools here in our state. So that's certainly one of the characteristics that can be very common for 2+2 programs. And so a little bit more about the specific partnership between our two schools. Basically everything we saw on that previous slide referring to conditional guaranteed transfer agreement. So this means that for all students that go into SCC with the intent of moving on to Mizzou to finish their degree, as long as they meet the requirements that are preset in those agreements, then they're going to be automatically admitted into those programs. This provides students with a lot of peace of mind, knowing that you know, they can complete the coursework in those first 2 years. If they perform at the level that they expect, then they already know what those last 2 years can look like for them when they decide to transfer on to the university. Again, the idea of predetermined credit transfer, the idea of facilitating that transfer process to make it as easy as possible on the student, and then scholarship availability. That certainly is one of the key pieces between our partnership. Where we're located, and we'll talk a little bit about this as we continue, where our campuses are roughly about a 2-hour bus ride apart. So it makes it easy for students to actually come from their current school, if they're attending SCC, and come to learn a little bit more about what would be their home for the final 2 years of their degree program on our campus, where we're located in Columbia, Missouri. On our campus, we also have a couple of offices that are directed specifically for transfer students. So we mentioned here our transfer experience and advising mentors. So these are actual current transfer students on our campus, including international transfer students who are there to they've been through that process. They're able to actually walk students through it very easily. And then also access to our transfer center and the dedicated advisors there who specifically and only work with transfer students to make sure, again, that credit transfers in and that they know exactly what their degree program would then require as they continue on.
St. Louis, Missouri has a population of 2.8 million, and it's about an hour and a half from Columbia, Missouri, where Mizzou is. I will refer to St. Charles Community College as SCC throughout the rest of this presentation. SCC is about 20 minutes away from downtown St. Louis. And so it's really conveniently located to a city right in the middle of the United States that is known for its history as it relates to the blues, music, food, and also the Cardinals baseball team and the Blues hockey team. So our students love that they don't live right in St. Louis, that they live just outside of it, and that they can return to campus and enjoy the quiet and the safety and the beauty, and then go and have fun in St. Louis in their free time. But let's hear from one of our students.
Hola, mi nombre es Minerva Pérez, nací en Toluca, Estado de México. Estoy estudiando en St. Charles Community College, mi último semestre de la carrera de negocios. St. Charles Community College ofrece un alto nivel académico a un menor costo comparado con otras universidades, además de que cuenta con varias carreras en distintos campos, certificados y programas de revalidación para que continúen sus estudios en otras universidades.
So we have over 100 degree programs and certificate programs. Minerva is finishing her associate degree in business, and she's also doing a diversity certificate of specialization and is actually scheduled to meet Ryan to talk about the process of transferring to Mizzou. So I know her and I know all of our students because our international student population, while it is healthy, it's manageable. So we have 300 international students. About 100 of them are full-time. We have about 9,000 full-time students. We do offer English language support at St. Charles Community College. So this is offered through a CEA accredited English Language and Culture Institute. CEA accreditation for an ESL program is the gold standard of accreditation for ESL institutes. The English Language and Culture Institute offers a pathway program for students so they can take both English and their general education courses for their degree. So they could take business courses in English at the same time, or they can start with ESL if they need that and then go into their general education courses. St. Charles Community College is also a great place for athletes to start. We're part of the NJCAA division, and we have competitive athletic programs. We offer study abroad programs around the world. We have an honors program, and we have on-campus employment and scholarship for current international students. We also have on-campus housing, which is especially in the Midwest of the United States, the middle of the United States, not always the case at a community college. And this gives you an idea of the prices. The campus housing is new. It's really nice. It's furnished. It includes Wi-Fi, furniture, utilities, even free bike rentals for the area.
Yeah, now I'd like to give a little introduction to our university. So once you were to complete your AA or AS degree at SCC, then we'd love to have you come and join us at Mizzou. So the University of Missouri, we're a large public university. We have right now about just over 31,000 students. Just under 2,000 of those students are international, with again, a pretty wide number of countries represented on campus with over 100. We're a comprehensive university in that we offer over 300 different degree programs, including over 100 different bachelor's degree programs that students coming from SCC would be able to enroll in. You can see some of the variety of those programs. We have a School of Engineering, a School of Journalism, our Trulas College of Business, so a wide variety of programs that students can choose from. Here at Mizzou, we're very proud to be a member of a group called the Association of American Universities. So this is an invitation-only group of some of the top research and teaching schools throughout all of North America. So as you can see, there's only 34 public schools that have been invited, and we're very proud to be a member of that group. We think that kind of speaks to the level of academic prowess on our campus, and it certainly is something that is born of our dedication to research. So you can see here that we currently have a research budget of over $200 million US per year. Now, for students that are thinking of a 2+2 program, this can be important in a couple of different ways. Pardon me. One of those ways can be that with that sort of a focus on research, our university attracts top faculty from around the world. And those are going to be faculty that are actually teaching our undergraduate classes, as well as conducting that research on our campus. We're also a campus that is one of the leaders in the United States at involving undergraduate students in research projects. So it is not uncommon for students on our campus that have an interest in research to be able to pair off, find a faculty sponsor, and then actually work with our Office of Undergraduate Research to receive funding, help with lab space, with carrying out those sorts of experiments and the research that they would like to. Now, that research part is part of our overall learning method on campus, our pedagogical philosophy, which we call our Missouri method. So the idea is experiential learning being at the heart of everything that we teach. We want students to learn by doing. We want you to have that experience already on our campus while you're studying that you're going to need when you then go out to look at your career after graduation. And yeah, I think we can move on. Virginia, thank you. So earlier we'd mentioned that certainly one of the advantages to 2+2 programs like we're discussing today, and the one between SCC and Mizzou, is that there are transfer scholarships available. So for students that are looking to transfer from SCC, we have two different levels of scholarship available. So for those who are excellent students that are able to earn a 3.90 GPA or higher, they can actually receive a complete non-resident fee waiver, meaning that they would pay the same tuition price as our in-state students, our Missouri residents. And in fact, they can lower that a little bit more because we offer an incentive of $500 per year for those that go on to earn their full associate's degree. So again, within that 2+2 model, students that typically start those 2 years at a community college like SCC would be able to earn a certificate, a degree, associate's degree for their time there. And that would actually then help to pay them as they come onto our campus.
So the admissions requirements to St. Charles Community College are really kind of, you need to be eligible. There are three things to consider. The academic admissions requirements. We are an open institution. So students who have completed high school are eligible for enrollment at SCC. Also, financial requirements. Our tuition is between $230 a credit hour and $330 a credit hour. We have tiered tuition. Most of the classes are set at $230 a credit hour. Only the more expensive classes, because they involve labs and expensive equipment, would be in the top tier, of which is $330 a credit hour. So the tuition would be about $5,520 a year. So I'm going to tell you on the I-20, you would need to show that you had enough for living expenses, which should come to about $6,000, and supplies, transportation, insurance, and so forth. So for the application, you would need to show financial ability for about $20,495, of which tuition wouldn't exceed $8,000, and that is very, I don't think that's ever happened. It's usually somewhere around $5,520 with the tiered tuition. Also, for admissions purposes, you do need to show language proficiency. If your score is below a 50 on the TOEFL, IBT, or equivalent, then you would go into the intensive ESL program. You would not go into a degree program. If your score is above 50, you would be in the pathway program, where you would have ESL support, and then you would take your degree classes. And in that case, it may take you longer than 2 years to finish your degree. So you can test out of taking ESL and go straight into a degree program if your scores are higher than this. So if you don't need English, there is a way. So again, I've already told you about the English Language and Culture Institute, but the financial requirements in the admissions process is the same if you'd like to just come and study through the pathway in order to get to that transfer point to go to Mizzou. You also have, I know Ryan mentioned, someone counseling you from advising. You get your own advisor, but you also get an international student buddy when you arrive at SCC, and you can also be in simultaneous conversations with Mizzou. So to apply, the first thing you would do is go to the website and go to stchaz.edu/apply and fill that out. And you will receive an email with next steps. And if you would respond to that email with the subject line SCC Mizzou Partnership, we will send you the rest of the application packet.
Yeah, and then once you've completed your associate's degree at SCC, the transfer process to Missouri, so being able to apply for us, is also a very simple and straightforward program. So our application is online. Students can go complete and submit that application. We do have a $65 application fee. And then the only required document that we would need for students that have completed their associate's degree at SCC would be for their official transcript to come into us. So again, similar to what Jesse had mentioned about the relationship between USF and HCC, completion of the English coursework that would be part of your work at SCC would actually go ahead and fulfill our English requirements. So we would not need to see any separate testing. Again, as a transfer student, there would be no need for SAT or ACT testing, nor for any recommendation letters. Now, once that transcript comes in, my team would automatically review students, not only for their admission under the transfer agreement that we have, but also then for transfer scholarship eligibility. So what we already saw on the previous page, understanding that for students that were able to meet those marks, that they would automatically receive that notification along with their admission letter after their application.
Muchísimas gracias. It was wonderful to have the opportunity to share information about Mizzou and SCC. St. Charles Community College and Mizzou are both in a place that's affordable, it's beautiful, it's really appealing to people who want to have sort of a historic experience in an area that's storied for the blues and sports and all other kinds of things like that. We really appreciate your time and would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Great. Thank you so much to both of you. I'm going to jump in with a few questions, and I invite the audience to continue writing me more questions if they have any. So this is for both of you. We have a question from someone in the audience who has dual citizenship. So they have lived in Latin America their entire life, but they do have the U.S. citizenship. And so they wanted to know how the process would be for them as they apply, if they would still apply in the international term, if they apply as a citizen, or what would change for them.
If you have U.S. citizenship, you would apply as a U.S. resident and you would pay out-of-state tuition, which is what our international students also pay at St. Charles Community College. That's the answer to that for SCC. Ryan?
Yeah, I was going to say about the same thing, that really the biggest difference, Mo, would be that students obviously wouldn't need to go through that process to get an F1 visa.
Right.
So some of what we had talked about having to present financial documentations for our institutions to issue an I-20, that really wouldn't apply because the student obviously would have access to a US passport that would allow them to freely enter the country. As far as the requirements, being able to take advantage of the agreement that we have, that would look similar for students coming either way.
And would they still have to take the English proficiency exam since they might not have necessarily been in an English speaking institution?
Yes, probably. And if they graduated from an American high school or they had 24 credit hours from another American institution, they have an ACT score or another score like that, or they take the proficiency test and test out, then they don't have to take ESL. But and a really great way to see if you need that is Duolingo. It's very affordable, it's online, and so it's really easy to just take a Duolingo test. And then if you test out of ESL, you test out and you move into an associate program. And I would like to add, our international students, whether you're on a visa or not, our campuses are internationalized and welcoming, and that's sort of a Midwest thing. They call it Midwest nice. So we are very happy, whether you're F1 or not, to support you in the International Student Services Office at SCC. You don't have to
Wonderful.
be on F1 visa for us to be happy to see you.
Great. I have another student that asked, in terms of applying into a community college, they have their high school diploma, but they left high school a few years ago. And so they were kind of wondering if there's an age limit to apply to community college.
No.
Wonderful. And then my last question for both of you is, what is the conditional guaranteed transfer? What do I need to do to move it from conditional to official?
Yeah, so at least on the university end of that, typically it's going to be that within that conditional agreement, it will have a set GPA mark and some of the coursework that would be required for particular majors on the campus. So Jessie alluded to this when she was talking about the agreement between HCC and USF, and that's very typical for many campuses. So engineering is a great one because the prerequisites are usually very set. So on our campus, a student coming from SCC would need to have at least a 2.5 GPA. And if they're going into engineering, then we would need to see that they had completed calculus and physics, some of those base level coursework, because that then allows us to know that they're ready to jump right in to that third year of learning on our campus. So the conditional part of it just means prior to, we're going to assume that you'll meet that. You're going to complete those courses. You're going to meet those GPA requirements. And so then really the last piece is just completing that and being able to see that final transcript from the community college partner and then making that an official offer.
Wonderful. Thank you both. Yeah, go for it, Virginia.
I just wanted to add to that completion is a really important part of our agreement between SCC and Mizzou. So Mizzou wants to see that the students were successful. And so it is a big part of that agreement.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for such great information. I know we learned a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and hand over the microphone to Jackson so that he can introduce the last two institutions we'll be hearing about tonight.
Thank you, Mo, and thank you, Virginia and Chris. Now we will welcome Chris Toribio from Orange Coast College and also Christy Colt from Loyola Marymount University. And they will also present on their 2+2 program. So thank you and welcome, everyone.
All right. Thank you to Education USA for this opportunity to present. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We have a PowerPoint presentation, of course. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about the 2+2 format California, specifically about Orange Coast College and Loyola Marymount University. So again, really great pleasure to meet with all of you today. My name is Christopher Toribio. I am the Manager of International Admissions and the Assistant Director for Global Engagement for Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa, California. And Christy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Christy Culp, and I am the Associate Director of International Admission at Loyola Marymount University. And I am also a proud alumna of the California Community College educational system. So I'm happy to be here today with you to explain how this works so that you have the idea of taking advantage of these 2+2 and the community college system in the US.
Excellent, Christy. Actually, I forgot to mention that too. I'm actually a product of a community college system as well. I did part of my senior year at Kauai Community College in the state of Hawaii. So I am too a product of the community colleges. Many of my family members also attended community college. It's very transformative. It really just is a great platform for many students to start their undergraduate education. So go ahead, if you want to go ahead and screenshot this slide right here with our contact information in case you want to get in touch with us afterwards. I'll give you 5 seconds or 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with today's presentation. So we already talked about the 2+2, but I really just want to provide you more like a visual reference on how the 2+2 process works. And again, we mentioned that it's a very common, about 50% of American students will begin their undergraduate education at a community college. There's 96,000 international students studying at two-year colleges right now, a large part coming from Latin America. And you're very familiar with the 2+2, but one thing I want to put a plug in is that I really encourage students who are attending a community college to earn their associate's degree. Big benefit, again, we specialize in the first 2 years of your undergraduate education, but having an associate's degree gives you a credential. Actually, and that credential as an associate's degree, you completed an educational level. So you have the opportunity to do OPT, the optional practical training. So a lot of students will use that. And it's a job that you earn for you get to do for 1 full year. Many of our students will use that as a gap year before they transfer to university. So many of our students at OCC really do take a part of these opportunities as well. So earn your associate's degree. It's a great opportunity. Again, after you complete your bachelor's degree, you'll have 2 degrees for your undergraduate studies. Okay, so just wanted to give you just a little bit of background about transfer. I know we talked about that a lot today, but just wanted to reiterate the fact that you can transfer anywhere. You can transfer to basically any university in the United States from a community college. So the options are wide available to you. And actually a university transfer does not require a transfer agreement. So I know we talked about 2+2 transfer agreements, but to be perfectly honest, that's not really a requirement for many students. We have students that transfer to universities that we don't have a formalized transfer agreement. So basically how it works is that you want to pick a community college that's regionally accredited. That's the first thing that most universities will look at to determine if the courses that they've taken at the community colleges are equivalent. But just keep that in mind, just because there's no formal 2+2 agreement doesn't restrict you from applying there as a transfer student. And your transfer is based on your coursework and grades from college. So whatever you did in high school, for most part, doesn't really affect you when you transfer. You get to start fresh. You're a university student at a community college. So one tip I like to tell students and advisors is really just compare both the freshman and transfer admissions requirements. You'll see drastic differences in what they require for students. And also, for the most part, it's actually less selective for students to apply as a transfer student. I always tell students, it's not difficult to transfer. That is a very common question I get. Is it difficult to transfer? It's actually more difficult to not transfer. So as long as you do exactly what you're supposed to do, you should transfer to university. I also wanted to give a shout out to the students here in this presentation. They are students at Orange Coast College, and this is an example of a student right here from Italy. He transferred to George Washington University, full athletic scholarship, where he's playing water polo right now. Now, is a community college a good fit for you? I like to say actually it's a good fit for all students, but here are some of the things that students do consider when choosing to attend a community college or starting there. So I always tell students, do a college readiness assessment if you are ready to go to a university. Just remember that community colleges are there for you and available to you and accessible for you. But many students will come to a community college because they question their academic competitiveness, competitiveness if they're going to a particular university or especially a very selective university. For many international students, they want to work on their English proficiency. For many students who are applying to very selective schools, too, holistic opportunities or that second part of your freshman application is really not available to a lot of our students. But there are holistic opportunities at community colleges, which I'll talk about. Think about your financial capacity and also if you have a major decided. These are things that you really want to consider. This is my former student assistant, Nan from India. It's a very interesting story, actually. He is an A-level student who was waitlisted at Harvard, decided to go to community college, and he earned a full tuition scholarship to attend Texas Christian University worth about $200,000. So one question I get a lot is there scholarships for transfers? Yes, there is. So he has a really unique YouTube channel actually that has his insight and his personal journey studying at a community college. So definitely check it out to get more perspective from a student. Okay, now how do you choose a community college? There's nearly 1,000 community colleges, and I always tell students that pick a community college as if you're applying to a university. We're all different. So there's a big misconception that community colleges only really focus on the first 2 years of your undergraduate degree. But we have a lot going on at community colleges, and we're all different and very unique in our own different ways. So look at your general interests. Each community college actually do have specialized majors. Of course, location in the US is very big. Your experience and your environment is going to be important. Again, most importantly, you want to look at the accreditation of the school to ensure your credits will transfer and that they are recognized, and also international student support. And I can confidently say that any community college that contacts EducationUSA has a lot of great support for international students. And I can honestly say not every community college has the support for international students. And when you come to the US on an F1 student visa, especially if you're coming to the US for the first time, it's really important that you find a community college that has really good support for you. But also one thing you might want to consider is that many majors at community colleges are just as good at universities. We not just focus on transfer, but we also have a lot of career technical programs that really prepare students for entry-level jobs in the workforce. I can think of a couple majors off the top of my head, like culinary arts, fashion design, aviation maintenance. So there's a lot of different majors that you can do at a community college. You don't have to transfer and you can still have a successful career. Okay, and again, community college is not just about transfer. Okay, so I know we talk about the 2+2, but there's so much more that we have to offer to students. One, we're comprehensive. So if there's a major that you're interested in, we most likely have it. So we have everything. So we're like a university in a lot of ways because we have so many different majors to offer to students. We're very supportive. We focus on undergraduate teaching. In fact, pretty much all your professors at a community college are literally professors. They're not graduate assistants. They're there to focus on the first 2 years of undergraduate studies. Many of our professors actually teach at nearby universities, so that's something that you really want to consider. At OCC, we have many professors that also teach at UCLA, UC Irvine, so it's essentially the same classes that you're taking, just taking at a different institution. And also, we're very holistic. There's so many opportunities for you to really get engaged on campus. Again, it's not just about sitting in a classroom getting your credits done, but you can really have a university experience at a community college. We have clubs, athletics, on-campus housing, research opportunities. Like I mentioned before, many professors teach at neighboring universities. And one thing about community college is all about access. And one thing that they do is they provide access to research opportunities to community college students. And that's definitely the case at Orange Coast College. And we also have honors classes too. So if you really want to challenge yourself outside of just the typical curriculum that we would offer to students, it's a really great way for you to do research, get involved in school, work closely with your professors. So find a community college that has a really good honors program as well. And again, not just about transfer. You know, a lot of our students like to talk about their experiences at a community college as the highlight of their undergraduate experience. So what I tell students, check social media. Social media is a really great resource for you to see what it's like to study at a community college, and I'll put our social media account later for you to check this out as well. Okay, I'm going to quickly just transition about talking about California since we are California. But here's the higher education system in California. So we have public universities and private universities. In the public university system, we have the University of California, the California State University with 23 campuses. I forgot to mention the UC system has 9 campuses, and the California Community College has 115 campuses throughout the state. And private universities, I had to look this up on Google, so if you need to correct me, but there's 83 private universities and colleges, including research universities, liberal arts colleges, Jesuit universities, which is what Christy represents at LMU, performing arts conservatories. So there's a lot of variety in California. I think we are the hub of, we are basically the largest public higher education system in the country, actually, with so many institutions that we do offer for higher education and learning. And I'm actually going to transition to talk about the California Community College system because it is the largest system of public higher education in the world. So the California Community College system has 115 colleges, and we educate 2.5 million students a year. We offer more than 400,000 classes, and transfer is a huge part of our higher education culture here in California. In fact, 50% of graduates from the University of California in California State started at a two-year community college and transferred from a two-year community college. So it's actually very, very common for many students to start here. In fact, the California Community Colleges is the most funded public institution in the state of California. So many of our campuses do look like universities because we have a lot of funding from the state of California who really emphasize that undergraduate education for the first 2 years. We have in-state public transfer programs as well through the University of California TAG, the Transfer Admission Guarantee. We do have an associate's degree that is designed for transfer automatically to the California State University system called the California State University Associate's Degree for Transfer, also known as Degree with a Guarantee. And actually many private universities do in California do accept the ADT as well. And we do have a transfer program with UCLA called TAP, the Transfer Lines Program. I won't go too much in depth about this because it's really about OCC and LMU, but if you have any questions about this specifically, you can go ahead and ask in the chat afterwards. Now, we educate 2.5 million students a year, so that brings in some of the most interesting students through our doors. So therefore, I want to share with you some of our most notable alumni from the California Community College system. And here's some, and they're really the shakers and movers in many industries and in their industries that they do specialize in. So if you're interested if you like Star Wars, George Lucas went to Modesto Junior College in Northern California. Tom Hanks went to Chabot College in Northern California. The Apple device that you're most likely viewing this presentation was because of Steve Jobs. He's the co-founder of Apple. He went to De Anza College in Northern California. And actually one really fun tip about this too, is that every time there is a new Apple device being debuted, it's actually debuted at De Anza College in Northern California, Silicon Valley. And the co-founder of Apple, Steve Wozniak, also went to De Anza College. The actress Gabrielle Union, the biggest firework in the sky, Katy Perry, went to Santa Barbara City College. The prolific African-American director, John Singleton, went to Pasadena City College. The former governor of California and the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, went to Santa Monica College. And my famous alumnus is actually the fashion designer, Paul Frank, who's known for drawing Julius the Monkey. He's actually a professor at OCC. So if you're interested in fashion, he does teach classes at our school. He actually drew Julius the Monkey when he was boarding class one day, and he became obviously a success. But that's just a few of our famous alumni. You don't have to be a famous person to make an impact, of course, but I just really wanted to illustrate the fact that because we educate so many students, we have access to higher education, we can really be a starting off point for you to reach your highest potential in whatever careers that you decide to pursue. Now we're going to move on to Christy's section to talk about the transfer from OCC to LMU.
So I feel like I need to talk about famous alumni that have come out of LMU. So continuing on with the famous alumni theme, how many of you have you heard of LMU? You can use your reactions to give a thumbs up, a clap, a heart, or a cry. I'm not seeing a lot of reactions here. So have you heard of the Hunger Games? Have you watched any of the Hunger Games? So if you have, those were directed by a guy named Francis Lawrence, who did a television production degree here at Loyola Marymount. How many of you have watched any of the James Bond 007 movies? Those were all directed by Barbara Broccoli, who did a production degree where? Loyola Marymount. Have you heard of SpaceX? SpaceX was founded by 3 people. One is Elon Musk, one is Tom Mueller, who did a master's degree in mechanical engineering where? Loyola Marymount University. And if you've watched a cartoon called Johnny Bravo, it's a guy who has yellow hair, and he's shaped like a V. That was a homework assignment in my animation department by a student that then did an internship at Cartoon Network in Santa Monica. Where did he do his animation degree? Loyola Marymount. All right, so moving right along, Loyola Marymount. We are located in Los Angeles, California, and we have about 20% transfer students amongst our student body, and it is an initiative of our president to increase that number. So transfer students are a very important part of our student body. It's so important because they bring perspective and maturity and a different type of banter to the academic classroom. So you are an important part of the student body. So for each of the different majors, there are different types of outlined guidelines, etc., that you are supposed to meet in order to transfer. So for example, television production, those students that transfer are few and far between. If you are a liberal arts student studying econ or psychology or urban studies, generally the GPA, minimum GPA is a 3.0. If you are an engineering student, once again, those requirements shift. So generally speaking, each of the different programs have their own set of criteria in order to transfer. And we do have agreements with our partner institutions like Orange Coast College and work directly with them to aid students in that transfer process. To be considered a transfer student, by definition, it means that you've completed 30 transferable units. What does that mean? It means a full year of study at a community college or institution of higher learning, of tertiary learning. Our preferred transfer student is from the California community college system, or really any community college throughout the United States. Why? Because a student can look at that pathway program and select Psychology 101 at OCC. I get credit for Psychology 1, which is core curriculum at LMU. So by definition, a student will have completed 30 units in order to be considered a transfer student. And generally, the threshold GPA is a 3.0. Chris is correct in saying that it is actually less complicated to gain admission to many universities, especially the one that I'm representing, Loyola Marymount University. It's much more straightforward of a process to gain admission at Loyola Marymount if you are a transfer student. You are also given a lot more flexibility. You have a later submission deadline. Those are amongst the few benefits that you have at a transfer student. So first off, who are we? Chris, would you mind moving to that next slide? So we are a Jesuit institution. We're a private institution in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is an enormous city. It's 503 square miles large, and there's about 9 to 10 million documented people in the city. So to give you a better idea where we are located, we're located 1 kilometer from the beach. We are 5 minutes from Los Angeles International Airport, and we're about 19 miles from downtown LA. This is a really important aspect to understand because we are not in the big buildings. We are in the beachside community of Los Angeles. So if you're familiar with Santa Monica or Venice Beach, Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey, that is our neighborhood. And when you think of Los Angeles, the industries that you think of are the things and the majors and the industries that we are known for as a university. So I always hear the students, their first answer to what industry do you think of when you think of Los Angeles is entertainment. So we are right next to Culver City, which is that area that has traditionally been known for filming, for film and television for over 100 years. We're also right next to this area. You can see right by, it's called Silicon Beach. The actual name is Playa Vista. It's where you can find Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Google, Yahoo, etc. TikTok is just on the other side of our campus. So we are right next to the tech sector of Los Angeles and the film sector of Los Angeles. But just south of the airport, you find our engineering corridors. So you have Toyota and Honda, AT&T, Raytheon, Boeing, SpaceX, and Tesla. So we are right in the center of the three major industries that this city has to offer. And if Los Angeles were its own economy, our GDP is the 15th largest in the world. That's 1.5. So California, if we were our own country, we would be the 5th largest economy in the world. So why is this important? Because it's important to understand what types of opportunities that you're going to have for internships. So why does anyone go to college in the first place, right? It's a promise of a better future. And so you have access, you could literally ride a bike to your internship at Google Walk or take our free shuttle down to Silicon Beach. So this is our campus, once again, 5 minutes from Los Angeles International Airport, close enough to be convenient, far enough away where you don't get any of the noise pollution, 1 kilometer from the beach. It's not uncommon for our students to go surfing before their 8 a.m. class. And so who are we? Chris, would you mind moving to that next slide? So if numbers matter to you, as it was mentioned, 4,700 institutions in the US, and we are nationally ranked number 66 out of those 4,700 institutions. So located in the robust economy of Los Angeles County with 9 million people, once you set foot on campus, it becomes a more personalized experience. So we only have 6,600 students on campus. And our average class size is 20. And I have 1 professor for every 10 students. What does that mean for the student? Once again, access to a robust economy and internship experiences and opportunities and cultural events, etc. But you're a name and not a number on campus. So we have over 60 majors and 55 minors, and the university is made up of 5 different colleges. So some of them, the most popular majors clearly is going to be engineering, film production, anything in business, and we specialize in entrepreneurship and digital marketing. So anything that you're watching, scrolling through on your phone through TikTok, Instagram, etc. Those are the types of things that we are specializing in. Theater arts, we're number 2 for theater arts. We're in the top 20 for engineering and marketing. Entrepreneurship, I believe this year we're number 13 out of the US. Film and television, we're number 7. Once again, if numbers matter to you, we're also considered the most beautiful campus, number 9 for most beautiful campus in the US, and within the top 20 for the happiest students. I'm not sure what the Princeton Review uses as criteria, but I think it has a lot to do with the sun and the surf and the laid back atmosphere. So once again, we talked about why anyone goes to college in the first place, this hope of a better future. So as a Jesuit institution, it means that I have a robust offering of student services. And one of those offices that students must engage with is career and professional development. We maintain synergistic relationships with industries and companies around the city and around the country and around the world. Currently, we have listed on our website for our students 2,000 plus vetted internships, meaning that we have continued relationships with these employers. And if you count all of the internships available on our website listed for our students, there's over 10,000. So national average of students that graduate that have a job after graduation is in the 70% every year. It goes up and down according to each of the differing classes. Our graduation rate for the last few years has been in between 95 and 99%. So its class of 2019 is at 97%. So that really is a testament to the work that we're doing with our students. We're going to give them a fabulous education, a personalized education equipped with that mentorship from high school student to transfer student to alumnus of the university, with support through that whole 4-year, 2-year, 5-year process in order to prepare students for the workplace and success in the workplace. And so I have a video for you, if I may use if I may commandeer the sharing mechanism here. So this is a quick video just to show you a little bit about our campus and our rankings. So there you have a little bit of visual representation of who we are. Let's see. Now I'm going to continue to share our presentation to give our contact information and to open it up to questions for our participants. So I'd like to open it up for any questions that the participants may have. Oh, and here is the link for the video as well.
Hi, thank you so much for all of that information. It was great to get to know both of these institutions. And so we have a few questions. First, we wanted to know if there's housing available for international students in both of your institutions. And if there's not, what kind of support is available for them to find housing?
Good question. So Orange Coast College is the only community college in Southern California with on-campus student housing. So we have 800 bed spaces available for our students. And we also have a lot of resources for students who want to choose off-campus housing as an option. On-campus housing is not required for students to enroll at our school, including in their first year. But that's one unique thing about our institution. We're the largest community college, or one of the largest community colleges in Southern California. And a big part of it is because of our on-campus student housing and our residence life.
So we do have 21 dorms on campus. There is no residency requirement. So if students want to live off campus, they are free to make that choice. I will say 95% of my first year students do elect to live on campus. 65% of my overall population elect to live on campus. So we have, once again, 21 different dorms that are separated from first year, second year to the upperclassmen, the juniors and the seniors. So yes, we have housing available for students with priority given to international students, and you're guaranteed housing on campus for the first 2 years. And the last 2 years, most likely, if you are interested in living on campus, you are able to do so.
Wonderful. And then the last question I have for both of you is, at Orange Coast College, if there are any scholarships available for international students, like merit-based, for example, and the same at LMU, if there are any scholarships available for transfer students, and maybe just mention, we also have students wondering if they apply directly to LMU, what are the scholarships like if you apply as a first-year student?
Okay, good question. So for most community colleges in California, they don't offer scholarships for incoming students. But at Orange Coast College, we do have a wide range of continuing student scholarships that we do offer. So in total, we offer about $600,000 worth of scholarships to all of our students. So you just have to complete one semester at OCC and apply through our scholarship portal. Our scholarships can range anywhere from $1,200 to $10,000. It just really depends on the scholarship. And you can earn more than one, so they're stackable scholarships. If you are in your final semester at OCC, you can still apply for a scholarship and you can use that money when you transfer to university. Our scholarships are unique because they're actually cash value. It's not like a tuition discount that you received or anything. You do get a check and you can use that for any educational or personal expenses that you want. But that's one unique thing about OCC is that we do offer continuing student scholarships as well as transfer scholarships for the students to use at their next university.
Awesome.
So for transfer students at Loyola Marymount, there is, we do have scholarships for transfer students that range from $2,000 to $10,000 renewable for every year if you maintain a certain grade point average. And so for first year students, we also have scholarships. We have a couple different scholarships. One is called the Global Scholars, and that's from $2,000 to $20,000. Once again, renewable to up to 4 years, depending on your grade point average. If you maintain a 3.0, you are guaranteed to have that funding follow you. And then my dean has a scholarship called the Trustee Scholarship, and that covers the full cost of tuition. So for any student that is placing within that top 3% of the entire applicant pool, he will incentivize you to enroll at LMU by discounting the entire tuition.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your information and for your presentations on your institutions. I'm going to go ahead and hand over the microphone to Jackson to wrap up today's event.
Thank you so much, Mo, Christopher, and Christy for such an insightful information. And I want to give a big thoughts of appreciation to the whole team of presenters today, Ashley, Jesse, Dr. Virginia Vinelli, Ryan, Chris, and Christy for presenting and providing so much information for our international students so that they can find the right fit, so that they can find that institution that is the right one for them. I also would like to invite the participants today for tomorrow's panel. All right, so I want to go ahead and present as well so that I can show you the institutions that will be with us tomorrow, same time. 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. to 6:30. We have Chemekita Community College, Portland State University, Snow College. We have Northwestern Missouri. Oops, I'm sorry. Northwest Missouri State University, Northampton Community College, and Global Penn State. Please log in tomorrow at 5 p.m. with the same link that you used today. And again, thank you so much to the panelists for such a wonderful and insightful information, and for the team of Education USA for all the support and all the help. You can also log in to educationusa.state.gov for upcoming webinars and upcoming sessions that we have in our region, either by country, all right, or by city. You can just log in to educationusa.state.gov to find the Education USA nearest to your city. Remember that at this moment, we are only having virtual or online sessions so that you can find that institution that is the right one for you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, and see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Good evening.
Nos vemos en Los Angeles.